Hey, have you heard about the world with a missing half? When Daniel woke up, everything looked normal. Quiet hospital room, a window, a table, a nurse. He said he was hungry. They brought a plate, he ate, and then the nurse noticed half the food untouched.
Yeah? What did Daniel say?
He looked at the plate, confused, said, "I'm finished," and pushed it away as if there was nothing unusual. Later, he tried to shave. Only one side of his face was shaved. When asked to draw a clock, he crowded all the numbers onto one side. To him, nothing was missing.
That's eerie. So he literally couldn't see half of his world?
Not exactly. He could see, move, and talk. The issue is attention. His brain ignored an entire half of space. Clinicians call it hemispatial neglect. It's not blindness. It's the brain deciding the left or right side doesn't matter.
Wow. That explains the food, the shaving, the clock. How does someone recover from that?
There are therapies: visual scanning training, cueing, mirror therapy, rehabilitation that teaches the brain to attend. Some people improve, others live with persistent gaps. It's as much about relearning attention as it is about healing tissue.
It sounds terrifying in a strange way. Not just losing sight, but losing the sense that anything is missing.
Exactly. The frightening part is the lack of awareness. Loved ones may misread it as stubbornness or indifference, when really the person's mind has a blind spot for half the world.
It makes you wonder how much of our reality depends on what our brain chooses to notice.
And that's the real mystery. Because what happens when your brain doesn't just fail to see something, but fails to realize that something is missing?
Welcome to Brain Glitch.
Where every mystery begins with a story and ends inside your mind. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. We'll be back with more stories that make you look twice at how your brain builds the world. Side nobody mentioned? It's this strange case about a man named Daniel. Over a few days, he started eating only from one side of his plate. If someone moved the plate, he just kept eating from whichever side was nearest. His coffee could sit on the other side and he wouldn't reach for it. But if someone put it right in front of him, he could pick it up fine.
Yeah, I have. Let's dive into it and see what we can learn. That already sounds eerie. Like he's physically fine, but something in his attention is broken.
Exactly. A doctor asked him to read a sentence, and Daniel read only half. When the doctor pointed to the rest, Daniel said, "There's nothing there." But when the page was moved, suddenly he could read it. The missing details weren't gone forever. His brain just wasn't directing attention that way unless forced.
So it's not blindness or pretending, it's selective awareness. What really gets me is the next test they did, asking him to imagine his hometown square.
Right. From one vantage, he described certain buildings and shops. Then the doctor asked him to imagine standing on the opposite side, and the scene flipped. The buildings that had been missing appeared, and the ones he named before vanished. Turning around in his mind changed which half of the world existed for him.
That detail makes it feel less like a sensory problem and more like a filter the brain applies. The scary part is how normal it felt to him. He didn't sense absence. He just experienced the world as whole, even though half was quietly missing.
Which raises the big question. If your brain can quietly remove half the world from awareness, how would you ever know something was missing? We trust our senses to tell us what's real, but attention shapes reality more than we think.
It's a humbling reminder that perception isn't passive. Our minds decide what to include. Sometimes that decision is helpful, and sometimes, like for Daniel, it hides entire halves of experience.
So what was actually happening to Daniel?
Yeah, I have. Let's dive into it and see what we can learn. Start at the beginning. What was strange about Daniel?
The problem wasn't simply with his eyes. He could often see objects on the neglected side, but he acted as if that half of the world didn't matter. Plates half eaten, one sleeve left unbuttoned, people standing at his left he never acknowledged.
That sounds almost impossible. Was he blind on one side?
No, this is where it gets fascinating. It's called hemispatial neglect. It usually shows up after brain damage, often a stroke affecting the right hemisphere. The eyes send information, but the brain doesn't give part of it attention. Seeing and being aware are not the same thing.
So information reaches the brain but never becomes part of conscious experience? That's wild. It's like the brain decides what to spotlight and what to ignore.
Exactly. Most of the time, that spotlight works so well we never notice it. But when it falters, you can have perfectly intact vision on paper and still miss half the world. And the stranger part, people with neglect often aren't aware anything is missing.
That's unsettling. It makes you wonder how much of our daily life is sculpted by hidden filters we never question.
Right. The biggest lesson? You can't always notice what your brain is ignoring, because if it's completely outside awareness, you have no clue it exists. Have you ever walked past someone you knew and not recognized them until later? Or missed something obvious until someone pointed it out?
I have, and it felt embarrassing, but now it makes sense in a different way. Listeners, tell us about your moments in the comments. What did you miss that was right in front of you?
If you enjoyed this little dive into brain glitches, follow or subscribe to Brain Glitch for more stories about the hidden side of the mind.
A lot of people watch and listen, but many of you haven't subscribed, so if you want more, hit follow. We'll see you in the next glitch.